May God rest his soul in eternal peace. I'll always treasure our conversations and his generosity at our last meeting. We'll dearly miss our brother. He has been such an intimate part of this group. We have shared many lovely memories. I found him always gentle, respectful, and considerate. He had an extraordinary insight to the human condition and a profound empathy while shrouding it all with a twist of humor. Compassionate and fiercely loyal. Kanja's size was not commensurate with his positive and dynamic impact. In fact, it was largely Kanja urged us on to assist in giving freely to any affected or afflicted member of this class. We shall certainly miss him. It was from a chance meeting between Gary, Kanja, and this individual that the class of 72 group started. If I remember correctly, while we were catching up after many years, Kanja suggested we try and get the contacts of other classmates, which led to our very first meeting at the cellar. My take is that this must be the most cohesive and happy group amongst all the class groups of Lenana. Status or pocket, neither status nor pocket mattered. Kanja made us all equal. Other groups have emulated what we do. He set the standard and bar of what a class alumni group should be. Kanja was a man of great integrity. He could not believe the injustices around us and would ask, how can someone do that? His word was his bond and strived never to break it. He was a fiercely loyal friend who always had a smile, a joke, and great banter whenever one met with him. Kanja made one feel and know that they were his friend and that he had your back. Thank you, Kanja, for being my friend. And finally, a quote. 4 years ago, my granddaughter was born with a heart condition, a hole in the heart, and development of veins and arteries on the wrong sides of the heart. Emergency surgery was required within 2 months if the baby was to survive, and was to cost about 2 million shillings in India. I approached Kanja, who appreciated the urgency, and he immediately reached out to the class of 72. Through this effort and others, a successful surgery was done, and the girl is now at school. Thank you, Kanja, and thank you, class of 72. Comments encapsulate what a jovial, kind, generous, loyal, people-loving person Kanja was. He went too soon for us, and we will greatly miss him. I would like to end with 2 Bible verses to Kanja's friends. Psalm 19:12. It says, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." And the second one is from Romans 10:13. "Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved." Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kitili, for those kind words. And as I was sitting down, Gary, I think with your funny stories, you gave many people here a chance to finally laugh at Kanja. Usually you couldn't get a word in when he was talking. So for the cousins, nephews who never managed to say anything, at least today you had a laugh. We're coming to the end of our tribute, and I am particularly pleased to welcome this next gentleman here who comes to bury his body and say a few words. And I'll give you the opportunity also to stand up as we welcome the 4th President of the Kenya, the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Church. Nelly, Waruru, Jerry, the entire family, friends. We're here today to both mourn but celebrate a man who was a dear and close friend to many of us. A man who was the life of any gathering. A man who was generous beyond any imagination. I had the opportunity to first meet Kanja in 1980. And in 1980, I was traveling to America for the very first time to begin my studies there. And we happened to travel with Sue Mathenge, Sue Derry now, I don't know whether she's here. There you are, yeah. She had been there before, so she was charged by my mother to ensure that I made it to school. So at that time I was in New Jersey and we traveled together. She got me to school, made sure we were settled. She at that time was with us. So she told me, if anything and you feel there's any issues, I have a cousin of mine. His name is Kanja. He doesn't live too far from here. I'll tell him you're around and I'll ask him to check on you and to see how you're doing. And that was that. In America, they have all these short holidays. I don't know, Thanksgiving, I don't know. They're all there, different little holidays. Well, unfortunately, foreign students have nowhere to go. You just remain in school because school is closed. Where are you going for 3-4 days? I used to work in the library in the school. So one day with another foreign student, I'm walking back from the library back to the dormitory. And out of the blue, I hear this loud voice shouting, "Hey, Reverend!" Both me and my friend, we turn around, looking, not recognizing it. Yeah, you, the African. I was like, I don't know how you knew the other fellow was not African, also have a white African. And he came up and he says, "Are you so and so?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I was told by my cousin to hold your hand." I'm like, "Oh, so you must be Kanja." "Yes, I'm Kanja." "What are you doing?" "Nothing." "My car is just parked over here. Let's go. Just pick a few things and go to my place." I looked at this stranger fellow who was so confident, just telling me to get into this. I proceeded to do just that. Got into his car and we traveled to his apartment. And that became my second home. To the extent that one day, as you heard, he used to work at UPS. I took the train and traveled to Jersey City, where he was based. And I happened to arrive there. Kumbe Kanja had already gone to work. So there was, in his apartment block, there was a place, the ground floor, where we used to go and have tea. decided I was going to wait for him there. So waited. Because I knew eventually when he came from work, he had to come through this team place. He would find me there. So he came and he asked me, eventually, how long will you be there? Only about a couple of hours. He said, hey, look, we have to, what you do now, tomorrow morning, I'll sort this out so you don't have to always just wait for me here. The next morning, he went, he made a copy of a key of his apartment, he gave it to me and told me, whenever you're here, you just, and the couch is there, ni kwako nyumbani. And we started a relationship from that day to date. Came back, and we eventually came back home, got into partnership, various business ventures which we tried out. I eventually went into politics. Got into that. Kanja was still around, and in fact, during my very early days, he used to be one of my agents. And as you know, the party I belonged to those days was not very popular in my part of the world. So he has also eaten a few stones on my behalf. Being my agent. And we continued our friendship all the way through. I'll never forget even when I was president, Kanja would never address me as president, he would never address me as Your Excellency. As you've heard, he had a nickname for everybody. Me, I was always, Papa, how are you doing? And the other thing he was very good at is sharing, as you've heard, he was very active on his phone. So I can assure you I suffered immensely during my tenure as president, because any of these memes, the one that showed me in the worst light, you can guarantee you can't go forward. He would ensure his forwarded, and with that, those emojis of laughter. So I'd call him and tell him, Kanja, what are you doing? Why don't you? No, wait, it's funny, isn't it funny? But he continued, and as I said, even December 12th, we were all together. No one would ever have imagined that the lively Kanja that we saw on that day, within a very short period of time, would not be with us. Even during that whole time, and before, he would still now share emojis and memes, but now a different guy. And in fact, the last message he sent me was almost, I think, the beginning of January. And the most amazing thing is he never mentioned anything about him being unwell, as we have heard here from Waruru. He was still sending his jokes. He was still keeping everybody's spirit high. And it was only when I bumped into Gary at another function where we lost my cousin, that he told me, our friend is in hospital. I said, what? He told me, he's in hospital. I told him, just less than 2 days ago, he didn't show any, went to to see him weak, but he didn't want to talk about his illness. He wanted to talk to me about what a wonderful December he had with his family, and how he was encouraging them to meet regularly, and how that they would have to continue to be together and to get to know each other more. Told me about the unfortunate incident of Warumu's husband, but he would not talk about his illness. When I asked him, so how are you feeling? I'm okay, I'm okay. I'm just waiting for the arrangements to be made to go to India, and they'll fix me up, and I'll be fine. He showed nothing. Despite the fact that you could see he was struggling, he showed no sign and did not even want it to become a discussion. And that was Kanja, a man, brave, loyal, and he did that because he didn't want it to affect anybody else. But I also agree with Waruru as we move forward. I think we should be honest about some of these things, and maybe if we're honest about them early enough, maybe something can be done. But Kanja lived his life to the fullest. There's no question about that. Kanja was one of those friends who was there, good times or bad. And I think the lesson of his life is a lesson to each and every one of us. We shall miss him, this great, joyful, happy man who made sure that nobody was ever really left behind or left out. Made you feel involved, made you feel loved, made you feel wanted, made you part and parcel of whatever was going on. We shall miss you, Kanja. And to Nelly, your family, we are always there for you. Whatever you shall need, whenever you require, you're in our thoughts, you're in our prayers. And our friendship does not cease because Kanja is with us. Our friendship, as he taught us, continues regardless. May God rest his soul in eternal peace and grant us all comfort in our hearts and grant his family the strength to endure next years without him, and rather than mourn, to cherish and to be happy about the moments that God gave you to be with this wonderful man. Mungu awabariki na walinde. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for those moving words about a true friend of yours. Ladies and gentlemen, please, am I allowed to say have your seats? Please have your seats. We are now on the last tribute, and that will be a song by Elizabeth Njoroge. Liz, I see you coming. But also let me take this opportunity as they come down to say, I think Nick and Nairobi Committee and also with the family, I think we've done a great job in terms of who was able to speak today. There's been laughter, there's been memories, and I think Kanja would have wanted it that way. So kindly give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you to those who spoke and for making it interesting despite the long sitting sessions. Please welcome Liz Njoroge.
It's our absolute honor and pleasure to sing
the music we're going to perform just now. It is a tribute from Nelly to Kanja about their journey together. Kanja, as you've heard and we all know, was just an amazing, amazing human being. A light has gone off in this world, but I believe very strongly it shines down on us from up above. And I hope that this music provides comfort to Nelly and the family. Thank you.